So, Mona Lisa, thank you so much for coming on our podcast today. We've known you for about 15 years, and I feel like over the past 4 years, we've got to know you really well, everything you've been through, and then how you've, in return, have helped us when Antonio was having some health issues. So, we're excited to hear your testimony, what God's done in your life, not just the past 4 years, but basically your whole life. So, thank you so much for coming.
Well, thank you for having me.
Yes. And how y'all like my shirt?
I like it.
Love you.
I'm
What's the
representing
occasion?
Zimbabwe.
Yay.
Yes. And that's where you're from, right?
Right.
Yes.
Right.
So let me ask you, Mona Lisa, if you could share with someone or a group of people or even our audience something that's really, really on your heart to just share with others, based on what you've gone through in life, what would that be?
To keep trusting God, never give up, and hang in there. It might seem overwhelming. It might seem like it's not going to end, but God is in it and you will come out.
Wow, that's a really good life lesson.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we're going to hear through your story today how you came to that conclusion. So let's just start at the beginning. Where are you from? Where did you grow up?
I was born in Africa, Zimbabwe.
Yeah.
Yeah, and as a teenager, we moved to England, and I finished my school and college there. Went to Tucson with our conference, Bible study. Nope.
Bible conference.
Bible
yeah.
conference. And that's where I met my husband, and now I'm here.
And what year did you meet him, or what year did you move here?
I met Cedric in 2008,
Okay.
and then I moved here end of 2010.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a lot.
Mm-hmm.
25 years, real quick. Okay, so let's go back to Zimbabwe.
Right.
So growing up there. So is your accent from, did you have the same accent in Africa, or did it change when you moved to England?
It changed a little bit.
A little bit.
Not
Okay.
much,
But this
yeah.
is your accent from
Yeah.
Africa.
Mhm,
Okay.
mhm.
All right. So tell us about, unfortunately, I'm included. Americans don't know much about African geography. I do know Zimbabwe's in the south, not South Africa, but it's in the south of Africa. Okay. So tell us about growing up in Zimbabwe.
Well, back then when I was there, I'm not sure about now because it's been a while. It's a Christian country. I was born in a family with 7 siblings. 6 siblings, there's 7 of us, and I'm number 5.
Okay.
And the culture is really hard on women. So, they have culture slamming on women. So when being raised by our parents, your parents are really protective of girls more than boys.
Okay.
So boys have the liberty to do whatever they want, but girls, they keep them so close. Why? Because if you make a mistake, it's really hard to come back from it.
Okay.
So I kind of grew up in that environment where we were not allowed to do anything.
And so that is a little bit different than some other African countries. And I know African countries are not like the United States. We're all kind of similar, but they're very, each country could be very different. So, because I know some other countries that, having children out of wedlock is pretty common, unmarried women. So it's not that way
Oh, no.
in Zimbabwe.
So if
Okay.
you have a child out of wedlock, chances are you're never going to get married again. And your stigma is really bad. Your whole family is shamed.
Okay.
It's not just you making a mistake, it's also your whole family. They're going to pay through that.
Wow.
So it actually just reminds me of the Bible times
Yeah.
where one person makes a mistake and your whole family are kind of going to suffer through that.
Okay.
Wow.
So how many girls were there in your family?
So there's 4 girls and 3 boys.
Okay. So the girls kind of stayed at home, did the
Yeah.
housework and things like that.
So
Okay.
yeah, you're allowed to go to school. We could study,
Okay.
because it's one of those we encourage to study as high as you can.
Okay.
But out of studying, you'll not even leave your parents' home until you're married. So it doesn't matter at 27, 30. As long as you're single, you stay with your parents.
Okay.
And then, so yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
And so you said it was kind of a Christian-based country, so Christian principles. Did you grow up going to church?
Oh yeah. So
Okay.
every Sunday, my mom and the kids, we went to church every Sunday.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not your dad?
No, my dad.
Okay.
Like I said, men could do whatever.
Yeah, okay.
But as the wife and the kids every Sunday, so I grew up as a Methodist.
Okay. Were you involved in church from a
Yeah.
young age?
I was in Sunday school, then from Sunday school to the choir to Sunday school teacher,
Oh, okay.
and then as a teenager when I moved to England.
Okay.
Hmm.
And so, did you ever get saved in church, or kind of more just kind of a good girl going to church?
I really think I just was a good girl going to church
Yeah.
because when my dad passed away, that's the first test I had to kind of see my faith.
Okay.
And the person I blamed was God.
Oh, wow.
So I didn't understand God's character or why bad things happen.
Okay.
So of course, when my father passed away, my questions were like, if you existed, then this would not have happened.
Wow.
And we know that God is still God, doesn't matter good or bad.
Yeah.
If you have to have a relationship with God to understand that, and I did not know that.
Okay. So that was a few years later
Yeah, so that
Okay.
was when I was 20.
when you experienced that. Okay.
Well, let me ask you this: what was the environment
Mm-hmm.
like around you outside of the house? Was it kind of rough? You know,
Like a poor country or a lot
So-
of poverty?
Yeah, so there is a lot of poverty, but there is that oneness in Africa because people rely on each other.
okay,
So I grew up surrounded by my cousins, aunties, so it was just a strong knit family.
okay,
Christmas we have over 100 people easy, and that was the norm.
yeah,
Wow.
If it's someone's birthday, all the men will be doing the barbecue outside, all the women are cooking. So that was kind of what I grew up with.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Okay.
I came from a very strong, tight family.
yeah.
Okay, so I think you said you were 16 when you moved to England. So what happened? Why did you move to England?
Well, early 2000, the president there, Mugabe, started making some crazy decisions. So England started putting some sanctions on the country.
Okay.
So most nurses decided they're going to leave Africa to go to England so that, they could get a better jobs, better pay. So, yeah.
And your mom was a nurse?
Yeah.
Okay.
My mom was a nurse. With her and the friends, they decided to move. So that's how my parents moved first.
So your dad went too? So just the two of them? Or all of you went at the same time?
No, it was just the two of them to
Okay.
kind of go get ready.
Okay.
And then the next year, me and my little siblings, we went.
Okay. And everyone else stayed back home?
They stayed back home, and then the older ones, they kind of decided they'll come later.
Okay. So what was that like moving from... So Zimbabwe was a British colony, even in the early 2000s?
Even in the early 2000s,
Okay.
the school I went to was called Queen Elizabeth School.
Oh, okay.
So the streets were named by the British because Zimbabwe had a British president until 1980.
Oh, okay.
So that's why the first language is English.
Okay.
And the schools were English. So
Okay.
everything was kind of like...
So you get to England, you fit right in, right?
Not really, not at all. The biggest culture shock ever.
In what ways? Like what was there?
Well, the weather for starts, it's very cold, very cloudy, and of course the homes, the buildings, it's not the same. The food is not the same. Even though I knew how to speak English, there's still the accent bit.
Okay.
So for them to understand me and me trying to understand them too was kind of like a learning curve.
Okay.
So yeah.
And then did you go from like a nice house to like a smaller, like a flat, or did you? Okay.
Yeah, so in Zimbabwe, the homes are almost like America. I always tell people like where I grew up was almost like Chicago. So
okay.
when me and Cedric went to Chicago, I was like, hold up, this sounds like where I grew up. And big homes, limited land, unlike the South here. And then we moved to London and we're living in a flat, an apartment really.
And 9 of you.
No, at first it was just me and my mom and my little
Okay.
siblings.
Okay.
Yeah, but still, it's not as big as Africa or America.
Okay. And then, so you said your dad passed away at 20. How did that happen? Did he get sick or?
Yeah, so he went back home, moved back home, and he got sick, and the doctors were on strike. So he had issues. He's in the hospital for 3 days. He needs a pacemaker, but because the doctors are on strike, nobody touched him, and that's how he passed away. And he was 50 years old.
50. Wow. It's like a simple procedure.
But yeah, so my mom bought the pacemaker in England, sent it back home. Everything was ready, but just that, they wanted more money. So,
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So you were 20 when that happened. And then you mentioned that kind of led you, to question God. So tell us about that.
Yeah, so like I said, I grew up going to church, and that's the first time I started not believing in God because I was kind of angry, and the only person I could think to be angry at was God.
Hmm.
Because I'm like, I can't believe in you when bad things are happening to good people. He was a good man. He loved his family.
Yeah.
All those kind of things. So I kind of started thinking, if things like this can happen, then God doesn't. He doesn't. He's not real.
Wow. Were you still going to church during this time?
I was still going to church because
That was just their culture, yeah.
that's the culture. Good
Yeah.
girls go to church.
Yeah, yeah.
Even though you have all these things happening inside you, I still just woke up every Sunday and still went to church.
Okay.
Now, let me ask you this. How did your brothers and sisters respond? Yeah, I mean, it was difficult for you, but did they take it really hard or?
I feel like for me and my younger siblings, because we're younger, because all the other ones were married, their family, they
Okay.
kind of took it well better.
Okay.
And
Okay.
then me and, like I said, my little sister, she was a teenager too. She kind of struggled and way more than me too.
Yeah. Okay.
And then, so at that time, what led you to, so you went from the questioning God to coming to know God? How did that happen?
I met a friend who I grew up with in Africa, in England. He was street preaching. I didn't know it then. I was on the bus and I saw him. I got off the bus to say hi. He kind of told me to wait. When he finished street preaching, he's like, "Oh, I can't talk to you right now. I need to be at church. Can you come to this address? I'll talk to you, afterwards." So I kind of debated, going or not. But I was like, okay, since I grew up with him, let me just go say hi and then go back home. So when I got to the church, the praise and worship had already finished. And Dimitri, he's the praise and worship leader, he was just giving his testimony like, my dad walked out of my mom. I never had an earthly dad, but I always had a heavenly dad. So to me, that was the first time I could hear that God could be your dad. I started crying. I mean, like, I just broke down.
Oh, wow.
I don't even remember what Pastor Kaneki preached about, but all I just remember was God is my father. And to me, it's the first time I'm hearing it.
Wow.
And the rest is history.
So what did you see, how did you start to view God after that? You went from questioning him and thinking he was cruel to viewing him as a father. Did that happen kind of quickly?
Yeah, it happened quickly because the more I started going to church, I started hearing about having a personal relationship with God.
Okay.
It's not just about going to church.
Yeah.
It's not just about, I walk with the Bible. It's actually reading it. It's
Right.
actually finding God for yourself. And the more I started seeking him for myself, asking those questions that I had, I could find the answers in the Bible.
Yeah.
So you started going to church with the best friend.
Yes.
Okay.
In
And
South
you just
Carolina.
kind of got involved there. Okay. Okay.
So did the Bible kind of come alive to you at that point? Like it
Oh, yeah.
was just like a book, and then all of a sudden it's like it's alive and speaking to you and changing you.
Oh, yeah. It went from the Bible that's on your shelf to
Yeah.
the Bible that you open and find every day.
Yeah.
And the truth in the preaching, you're hearing truth, because most of the churches out there, they don't speak truth.
Yeah.
So you actually have to know that you're going to a church where you're actually spiritually fed.
Yeah.
And yeah, from then onward, I started reading my Bible. I started praying more. And then God actually revealed more himself to me.
Wow. So even good girls need to get saved.
Even
Right.
good girls, it's not by works, it's
Right.
just by our faith.
Yes.
So now, did any of your family members start coming with you?
So yeah, my best friend. So I invited my best friend Tapiwa. She started coming with me, and then my little sister and my nephew, they started coming, and then they also started bringing their friends as well.
Okay.
Because I lived 61 miles away from the church.
Say that again.
61.
61 miles away
Oh,
from
wow.
the church. Yeah.
Wow.
So when I started going to church, I needed people to go with me.
Wow.
Because it went from I was using the train
Mm-hmm.
to, okay, I'm going to drive. And when I was driving, and Tapua got saved. And then my little sister Lenny got saved. And then my nephew Leroy got saved. And they started bringing their friend Ronald. So now there's 5 of us.
Yes, yes.
So, yeah.
You got on the train together?
No, we started using the car.
Oh,
Because
okay,
it would have been more expensive to use
Yeah.
the
The
train.
train. Okay. I'll
So
find you.
let's pause a minute because that just went by. You said 61 miles.
Yeah.
That's like us here in Athens, Georgia, going to Atlanta.
That's exactly how it is.
And she did it to go to church. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So
And
God,
then with traffic, how long did that take?
Sunday mornings was easier. So I was already going to London anyway because I was in college.
Okay.
So I started picking up classes like that fall on Wednesday. That way, when I go to class on Wednesday, and then I can just stay in London and go to the evening services.
Okay.
And Sunday traffic was way easy because
Okay.
there's no congestion charge.
Okay.
So yeah,
wow.
Never been to London, but I've heard the traffic is really bad.
yeah, yeah.
Now I went 25 years ago. Yeah, 25 years ago, and it was an experience. Everything was a lot smaller and just crunched in. Cars, vehicle.
That's how Cedric felt.
Oh man, because Cedric's what 6'2".
Yeah,
Ooh, wow.
yeah.
And I mean, it was just compact. But the thing that really got me, it was just how expensive it was. Oh my goodness.
Is it still like that?
It's kind of flipped. The living expenses there is actually way cheaper than here,
Oh, okay.
but just getting a home there is more harder.
Okay.
So to give you an example, back then, a Happy Meal, from McDonald's, a Happy Meal.
You got a Happy Meal?
Well, eating American food, a meal was like $12-13,
Wow.
and that was 25 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, so now the currency has changed. $1 is to £1, so it's almost the same.
Okay.
Okay.
Because I remember when me and Cedric were dating, £1 was to almost $2.
Okay.
So now it's 1:1. So
It's easier to
it's easier.
understand.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
Okay, so you stay in England until about 2008. No, till 2010. So you come to America for the first time in 2008.
Yes.
Okay. And you go from rainy England to June in Tucson, Arizona. Did you think that's what all America was like?
The desert hot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you
yeah.
came for a church conference. Okay.
That's another culture shock.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I came for a church conference, and it was me and some of my friends. Even though we were in London, our conference was in Walthamstow.
Okay.
So that's why most people hardly come to Tucson conference. But we decided we're going to come with Pastor Peter Jala and a bunch of us. And 5 of us, I think 5 girls, were staying at one hotel. We're sharing one car. So we go to church Monday night. And Michelle, I think, met one of my friends, Portia. And then the next day, Michelle came over to kind of say hi because to Portia, she heard us saying, "Oh, we don't want to go to the hotel." She's like, "I'll take you shopping," because we wanted to go shopping. First time in America, nobody wants to be in the hotel. So Michelle took us shopping, and I guess throughout the week, we started hanging out with Michelle, and that's how Cedric came in the picture.
Oh, okay. And then you just dated long distance
Yes.
for
we-
2
Whoa,
years.
whoa,
Okay.
whoa, whoa. Give us a little more update. I mean, you said he came into the picture. I mean, what was it like? You saw him or he saw you and it's like, whoa, which, was it mutual or?
No, he actually started asking Michelle for my number. But Michelle kept refusing, saying, "You have to ask her for yourself."
Yeah.
So I don't even know this is happening.
Okay.
And I think Michelle said that was Wednesday. So Thursday, he's still scared. He hasn't come to me to say, he's asking Michelle and nudging Michelle, get a number. And Michelle kept saying no. So Friday, we went to the ranch, Ramirez Ranch. Yeah.
Yep.
So I'm just sitting with Miss Vera and all the Athens people. And Cedric came and sat next to me, started just trying to talk to me,
You had to wait till the last day.
the last day, do or die.
Yeah.
And then when we're walking, like me and Michelle were walking back to the car, he's walking with us. He still hasn't asked for my number. And he's asking Michelle. Michelle kept saying, "No, you have to ask for yourself." And then he asked for my number. But I was like, "Oh, I'll give it to Michelle." Michelle's like, "Nope, let's give it to him right now." Only for Michelle to explain that, we had to give it to him right now because he's been asking for it for 3 days.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's how that happened.
Nice.
So back then, how did you communicate? So that was
Yeah.
17 years ago. So how did you write letters or call?
Yahoo Messenger.
Okay.
Yeah, so we had Yahoo Messenger, or he had to buy a lot of phone cards.
Okay.
So yeah, yeah.
Nice. Man on a mission. Yes, yes.
Okay, so you get married in 2010. You moved to Georgia. So was that a culture shock too, or a little bit easier than?
A big culture shock.
Was that okay?
Because yeah, the trees. I remember driving with Pastor and Cheryl from the airport. I was like, man, there's a lot of trees. You know, you're coming from London with all these high rise and everything, and you come to the south.
Oh, that's why you
where
don't like bugs. Okay, now I get it.
you know, all these trees, all these, yeah. So, but I love it now.
Yeah,
Back
yeah.
then, I kept saying, I'm moving to a village.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, you are in the country. So Athens is definitely country compared to London. So you get married, you guys start having kids. I know we're passing a lot of years here, but you get a good job, you have a nice home. So pretty much the decade of the 2010s was really good. Really blessed and nice.
So before you get there, how many kids?
3 kids.
3?
Yeah,
Okay.
2 girls and a boy.
Okay. Ages?
Beautiful kids.
Now it's 9, 11, and one almost 13.
Wow.
Oh, wow. Wow. And they're growing. Good gracious. I mean, it's like they're going to be taller than me next 3 years.
Yeah, Bree is already taller than me.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so you come into 2020, everybody had a crazy year. And then 2021, where do you want to start?
Yep, I felt a lump on my right breast, and I kind of ignored it. You know, it's like, okay.
When was this?
And
Beginning of 2021?
yeah, beginning of 2021. I think February or March, I felt a lump. I was like, it's nothing. And then 2 months later, I remember asking Cheryl, like, hey, can you watch my kids? I need to go. I went to the OBGYN. I was like, okay, you know, let me just go see what my gynecologist is going to say. And they examined me, and they're like, yep, we need to send you to the hospital. They need to do more tests. I went to the hospital, and they were like, we need to do an MRI. You know, I was like, okay, you know, I don't know what's happening. And then they're like, we need to do a biopsy. You know,
This was all pretty quickly.
this is all quick. This is happening the whole June.
Okay.
You know, and July we're going to Prescott. So the Friday before Prescott, I went on my chart. You know, Piedmont, you can check your results. I got an email that on your my charts, your results are there. So I just read carcinoma. I sent it to Cheryl. Like, hey, what does that mean? She's like, do you want me to come over? So when she responded like that, I knew it was not good news. So I sent it again to Corey, and Corey's like, do you want me to call you? So right there and there, I kind of knew. Before even the doctors told me, I was like, okay, if Corey or Cheryl are reacting that way, that's not good. But I was like, no. I told Cheryl, since we're going to conference, I'll meet you there on Monday. You know, we're going to be going to Prescott. And then Monday, I didn't get any calls from the doctor. And then Tuesday, Prescott, you know, it's the donut break. Finally, the call comes in. And they're like, yeah, we just want to confirm to let you know that it is actually cancer.
Wow. So you were actually at conference.
Yes, and I'm glad I was at conference.
Yeah.
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 No, why do you say that?
Well, because the theme of that conference was clarity. So, of course, you know, when you hear cancer, you freak out, you panic and everything.
Yeah.
And it aligned with the, you know, the theme where I kept praying, God, you know, I need clarity, I need peace, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I'm surrounded with all this atmosphere. So there's no room to freak out.
Yeah.
So I'm just seeking God. I'm talking to Cheryl. You know, I'm just getting ready to come back because now that they've confirmed it, you know, that's just the beginning of the long process.
And how old were you?
I was 37.
Wow. And any family history of breast cancer? Your sister's mom?
Nope, I'm the first one in my whole family to have
Wow,
it.
okay.
Yeah.
So that was a shock again, you were just totally unexpected.
Yeah, I guess that's why it took 2 months to kind of like, oh, it's a lump,
Yeah.
maybe it's a cyst, you kind of
Yeah.
talk yourself back because I'm like, no, but I've never had anyone in my family with cancer.
Yeah.
So there's no way, but yeah.
Okay. So you find out in July, you get back. What's the doctor's visits? It was,
And since I don't have any history, they want to do tests, they want to do more MRI, they need to check the other side to make sure it's not there. So actually July, August, September, before even the surgery, 2 months of just tests and going back to the doctors. And I remember Cheryl gave me a really good advice. She said, whatever they tell you to do it. And I'm so grateful for that because it gets overwhelming.
yeah.
They kept bringing bad news. Not only is it cancer, they're saying you have aggressive one and it's growing like crazy. So, you know what I mean? So it seems as if bad news on top of bad news. So, yeah.
And then you went to the surgeon. And were you expecting, I remember you went to a surgeon and a plastic surgeon as well. Were you expecting just a lumpectomy, or did you know what to expect when you went into those appointments?
No, they told me lumpectomy was not even on the table.
Okay.
Because of how aggressive it was.
Okay.
So the only option was a mastectomy.
Okay.
So that's why they were like, okay, we need you to go see this person so that, since you're young, you can have reconstruction, and it has to be done on the same day. So that's why also I think it took long, because they're trying to organize between the plastic surgeon and the surgeon their timetable to be on the same surgery for 9 hours to make it happen.
Okay. Then you have the surgery in September?
End of
Okay.
September.
Okay. And what was the recovery like?
Wow, that was...
Well,
yeah.
well, let me ask you this: before the recovery, like family, how did it all go, as far as husband, kids, and just even you telling your mom, that's,
Well, that's a hard process because remember, I'm the only one here. My whole family, some of them are in Africa still, some of them are in England. So letting them know, and anytime you tell people cancer, they think you're dying.
yeah,
Because I remember I had cousins even in Australia telling me, like, they were calling me like I'm already dead. So kind of people, the way they reacted, I'm so thankful for our church. And I remember with every appointment, I went with either you, Mandy, or Corey. I had someone, and even like I said, they kept giving me bad news. You go to an appointment and bang, they're telling you something. Oh, we're going to have to do mastectomy. And I'll talk to Corey for hours outside of the car. It's kind of like she had to talk me off the ledge because I'm like, hold up. I just expected them just to go cut a little piece. Now they're telling me I'm in my 30s. They
Yeah.
have to do this. And I remember going with you, Mandy, and you had to explain some of the terminology they use because they use all these words you don't even understand.
Yeah.
And you're already so overwhelmed, you're not listening. They're talking to
Well,
you,
I
but
do
you're not
remember
listening.
going to the plastic surgeon, and he was actually very nice and had good bedside manner, but I think you were expecting one thing, and he went in and and I think both of you and I were shocked. And I remember your face, and I said, "Sir, just a minute. You've just really shocked her. Can you slow down?"
Yeah.
Because that's what they do. They're surgeons.
Yeah.
But that was a lot of information all at once. So
And that was all of the appointments. And it's always so helpful to go with someone, especially like Corey. She will ask them. They'll talk to you like you don't know anything.
Yeah.
But Corey will stop them and say, why that one? Why this treatment? I had this one. Why are you using this one?
Okay, now let me ask you this: Corey had been through cancer, breast cancer as well, right? Okay, okay.
Yeah, so she already knew the medication. She knew the chemo. Because when they told me they were going to give me edromycin, is the one more on the aggressive side.
Okay.
So some people call it the red devil because it's really harsh on your body. But Corey's like, why are you giving it that one instead of this one? So then they'll explain like, okay, because her cancer is very aggressive, we need to make sure we're really killing every cell in your body.
Wow.
So imagine going to these appointments and you don't even know there's other option. You don't have the people, so it's always nice to have people who knows, to go with.
and even soften the blow a little bit. Like
Right.
that's I can't imagine handling all that yourself.
And I just want to say this to the audience and people out there. This is why we do these podcasts, because you may be going through a similar situation to where it's just like you don't know, and basically just trying to help give insight and encouragement and just reaching out. You can reach out to us as well, and just helping you through all the different things that you're going through, because a lot of people, as we've seen, don't have that support group. And that's what we're trying to be, is that support group, for you out there that don't have a church home or a church family, or just even, family or friends to really help through those hard times.
That is so true, because I feel like my process was way easier because being surrounded by people. And they offer these support groups. You always hear cancer support group, and people they underestimate the power of
Yeah.
those. Like, okay, we're doing a 5K for cancer, go meet here. You need those support groups so that you're not in your head.
Yeah.
So that you have someone who's been through it telling you you can do it.
Yes.
Yeah.
On your own is so dark and overwhelming.
Yeah.
But surrounded by people who love you, who've been there, even in the Bible, when Moses' hands were getting tired, people were holding his hands for him. And this is the process you go through. Like, on your own, I didn't know how to pray. I was just like, I want to pray, but at that time, I didn't know how to pray. But I had this peace. Why? Because people were praying for me.
Wow.
You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like I'm trying to live, nothing is happening, but there's something that was there that I knew. The people in the church, my friends, my family, everybody was praying for me.
So what you're saying is, at those lowest moments where there's no hope, no answers, the people around you really made the difference.
Oh yeah, big time.
Yeah.
Big time. Throughout the whole process, especially when I started chemo, I was so weak to even look after my kids, even to cook for my family. But I didn't have to worry about feeding my family because the people in the church, they stepped up. There was food coming to my house every day. There were people, Charmaine was bringing people to clean my house.
Yeah.
Cedric is making sure the kids are at school, and there were people visiting me every day. Hey, what do you want? Okay, I'm going to bring you your favorite ice cream. And people just doing all those things that instead of worrying like, oh, I need to clean my house, or I didn't even have to, because the church rose up and they kind of showed up big time.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I just want to say, you and Corey, when I realized I had prostate cancer, and just going through that whole process, you guys really made it easier for me. It wasn't like I had to pioneer or figure it all out. I mean, just watching you and Corey, it was like you guys had cancer, and I didn't even know the full extent. But I'm watching you come to church, you and your family, no complaining, and it was just like, positive. And this is even before I had cancer. I'm watching y'all, and it was amazing, because I was able to see y'all go through what you went through, but then years later, looking back, well, if they can do it, I can do it. And it just really made that difference in my, recovery and everything.
Oh yeah, when you have that strong support system, it seems as if it's easy, because you're not doing it on your own.
Yeah.
You have a whole mountain of people just pulling you through.
Yeah.
So the strength is not your own; it's the people around you, because they are carrying you. So all that what you are seeing is people helping us go through the worst time of our lives. By loving, by supporting, by texting and calling, cooking, cleaning, anything that they did, those things actually helps way more than people understand.
Yeah. Wow.
So you did ask about, like, how did it affect your kids? I know they were probably like 4,
Yeah.
6, 8.
I feel like Bree and Josh, the youngest ones, they didn't know what was happening.
Okay.
Whereas with Drew, I remember she would come from school, she would just get on my bed. She would refuse to go anywhere else.
Yeah.
And she would try to make me tease, like she could not leave my side. She's one of those, I remember, like it really affected her way more.
Yeah.
Whereas Bree and Joshua just thought, oh, mom is sick.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
They don't understand what cancer is or anything like that. Because now you find Brienne is telling people, oh, my mom had cancer. She's at the age to realize, oh, this is what happened.
Okay.
But during the time she didn't understand.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, how did Cedric, you know?
Cedric is one of those people who doesn't show his emotions, but you could see the worry on his face.
Yeah.
You could see, like, he's worried, he's praying, he's looking after the kids, and he had also the help from the people, the men in the church, because he's talking to Pastor Lavalli a lot.
Yeah.
And I think he also went to gym as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Praise God.
So your recovery was pretty rough. I remember a lot of pain, nausea, because you had tubes for a while and drainage stuff. So how long do you feel like it took to recover and before your other surgery?
I know. So
So how many months did you have for the first surgery?
the mastectomy was really rough. And not only you just go through the surgery, and then I started chemo in November.
Okay.
So September is surgery, and then I have all these drains, and they had to stay, I think, for a month. And then I started chemo, which will wipe you out. I mean, like, I had chemo on Thursday. The whole week, you can't even walk, you can't even do anything. The amazing thing is, because, people associate cancer with throwing up and all that stuff. Now they kind of found a way where they give you steroids and chemo together. So you're not on the toilet throwing up, but everything hurts. All your eggs, all your everything hurts. And I remember my hands, my tongue, my feet, everything turned black. So you're just sleeping because you have no energy for anything. And that was another 6 months of chemotherapy.
Wow.
And then after that, you started to get injections because this was an estrogen tumor, and they wanted you to really suppress your estrogen. So you started getting injections. And tell us, so was that after the 6 months? So you did the chemo then, or was it in the midst?
So I did the chemo, and then I did the radiation. And then after the radiation, I started the hormone.
Wow, they did. Oh,
Yeah, so
everything.
Yeah, everything. It was rough. It was really rough. But after the radiation, I started the induced menopause, because since I'm in my 30s and my cancer is hormonal, they don't want any of my hormones working at all.
Yeah.
So I had to get a shot to make sure that they're suppressing the hormones.
Okay. And then how long did you get the shots until you decided?
Yeah, so that shots was, and then every month, but I was still also on chemo, because now I have to do the oral chemo because for 2 years. Since, like I said, it's aggressive,
Yeah.
they want to reduce the chances of it coming back. So I had to take a pill called Venzenio to make sure that increases the chances of it not coming back.
Okay. And then when did you decide you didn't want the shots anymore? You just wanted to go ahead and have the
So after
hysterectomy?
after a year of the shots, so the following year, 2022 in May, I decided, like, nope, no more shots. Let's just have a hysterectomy. So I had the surgery.
And it also involved the ovaries. So you took out hysterectomy, ovaries, just to do
Everything.
away with
The
hormones.
shots,
Okay. So as we know, the ovaries are the main producers of our female hormones. So you went from, at that time, I guess you've been 39. Most women go into menopause in their 50s. And so you went from, you're already getting the injection, but you went into complete menopause overnight.
You're right.
Yeah.
Right. That's another chapter of the
Yeah.
life right there. Yeah, and another, the sad part of it, people don't explain, like, as women, we need our estrogen.
Yeah.
It gives us our energy, everything that we function, our brain.
Bone strength, heart health.
Right.
So you've had even heart issues
Right.
from all this. Yeah.
So, yeah, the heart issues came from the chemo. Is erythromycin, it reduces your heart function by 30%. So even though they're killing the cancer, they're also
Affecting the
affecting
heart
the
heart
heart,
muscle.
the liver,
Wow.
the kidney, all
Yeah.
of these things.
Okay.
So I went from one doctor to 7 doctors because now I have to see a cardiologist every 3 months because they have to keep tracking my heart. I have to see, all the other doctors. And now you have a hysterectomy, and starting the brain fog.
Yeah.
You have fatigue and all these mood swings,
Yeah.
everything that comes with
The
menopause.
joint aches
Every ache.
and the hot flashes. I've seen you in a hot flash. I feel so bad for you.
Oh yeah, those ones are rough. So the hot flashes and the aches on the joints, like you wake up and you're trying to walk and everything hurts. So you have to deal with all of that, and there's no quick solutions for it.
And you've tried, I know, different medications. They just didn't work very well. What have you found now? You and I were talking the other day kind of about some of your exercise regimen. What have you found that has helped with at least the joint pain and it's reduced some of the hot flashes? What are some things that you found to help?
So with the hot flashes, I noticed sugar and coffee are the triggers for me.
Okay.
So if I drink coffee or eat any sugar, yeah, I'm going to be suffering.
Okay.
And then with the joint ache, my oncologist told me, like, you have to do, like, heat trainings, like
Oh, the high intensity
yeah, a
interval
lot
training.
of
Okay.
weights. So, I started doing that. And the more you do it and take collagen, you have to take
Creatine, I think, too.
creatine,
Yeah.
you have to take protein, and you really have to exercise, because if I do it consistently 5-6 days a week, no joint ache. But if I skip, because now you're struggling, with osteoporosis.
Yeah.
So to overcome that, you have to do weight trainings.
So those muscles will also strengthen the bones. So estrogen helps in bone strength. It helps in muscle strength. But you can do those things yourself. But that protein's really important to replenish your muscles.
Oh, yeah. And exercising and eating healthy anyway. It just gives you energy, no more fatigue, no more brain fog. Because my kids are like, hey, Mom, we have this. An hour later, I'll completely forget. Right? Because they're waiting since they told me I'm going to remember and take them. And then they'll remember at 6, like, we told you. I'm like, I forgot.
Yeah.
Tell my phone. Go set a reminder on my phone.
I know we have to leave, like, okay, set it up, and I need the reminder 5 minutes before we leave.
Okay.
Because before then, it's like I forgot. I'm like, what's happening to my brain? What's happening?
Yeah.
But it's all that stuff to do with menopause.
So in my job as a nurse care manager, we talk about 4 areas of health that you're always trying to balance. So nutrition, exercise, sleep, and stress management. So you've got the first 2. So what about your sleep? Are you sleeping better now? Or are you still, I know menopause causes sleep disturbances. Has that gotten better?
With, I guess, waking out and taking magnesium, I sleep so good.
Oh, good. Yeah. Okay. So magnesium. I love magnesium. That helps me too.
Right.
And then what about stress management? I think it's obvious, but tell us, how do you manage your stress?
It depends, because with stress, I feel like if you have a good calendar, I have to plan ahead.
Okay.
Like over the weekend, I'm already planning for the whole week.
Yeah.
So if there's no chaos, then no stress. But if I leave things on the day, you know what I mean? That's when you find yourself screaming at everybody. It's like, nope. So now I guess also with maturity, I'm learning I have to plan ahead. I can't just be, I'm just going to wake up and do this. So I plan my schedule. I'm going to wake up. I'm going to read my Bible. I'm going to pray. I'm going to go to work. I'm going to wake out. I'm going to come home, make dinner, right?
Wow.
And then do homework with them.
Are you sure you've just been through 4 years of what you've been through?
Wow, the scripture that God always spoke to me during my the whole process of suffering is, it is good that I was afflicted, that I might learn his statute.
Oh my gosh.
I always I keep telling everyone, I think I need to write a book that is, says,
I was actually going to suggest that at the end of all this. So.
Why? Because sometimes people look at suffering as one of those things like, oh, this is bad thing, that something good always come back.
Yes.
You have to be intentional. What I learned through my cancer is I wasn't living, I lived like, oh, I have all of the time in the world. But then that was kind of like a wake-up call. No, you do not.
Yeah.
Make most of your days. Make most with your kids, with your family, with everything. So when I look back now, that kind of pushed me to go for everything that I kind of was pushing aside. I knew I wanted this, I'll push it aside. I knew I needed a deeper relationship with God. Oh, I have time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We keep pushing all these important things. And then you go through something like that. It's like, nope, I'm not wasting any moment. I'm going to live for today. No regrets. If God is telling me to do something, do it. if God is telling me, go get this, go get it. No fear.
Yeah.
You don't allow fear anymore because we're so bound by fear of man, fear of failure, fear of everything. We never try anything.
Yeah.
And then now you're faced like, I should have. No, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you get to a point where I'd rather fail, but know that I've tried.
Yeah.
Than not even try at all and then think, oh, I should have, So
Yeah.
I should have is one of those things I'm removing from my life.
And you hear that about, people in their 80s and 90s. People ask them, what do you regret? And they say, not doing or not trying new things or
Yeah.
not taking a risk. Just do it. Just try it. And
Just
that's what
try it, fail.
So
But
you learn that at a much younger age.
Right. It's like fail. It's okay to fail. And I'm actually teaching my kids, it's okay to fail. Just don't stay down.
Yeah.
Get up and try again.
Yeah.
Well, and it's like what you said is how God has turned something bad into something good, but you have to be intentional and look for the the brightness out of that. And that's how we actually started this podcast. It's just like when I got cancer, and God opened the door and spoke to us. And, you can go back to the first podcast and check that out. But that's how we started this. And so trying to turn it around for good. And that's the thing, like with, all that I've gone through, God has given me and helped me to be more sensitive to other people that's going through different issues and different things like that. And that's, like, I guess wanting to share all this to give support to other people.
Yeah, and it's also like the flaw that we all have is focusing on what we don't have instead of focusing on what we have.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
one thing I know is like, I'm going to be thankful for everything I have, for today, for my family, for my kids, because I'm truly blessed. Some people are not even
Is
here.
that where your joy comes from? Because when I think of your name, I just think of joy. The smile that you have today, you've had that for 4 years. I don't know how you do it. Do you think that's where it comes from?
Gratitude, yes, because I have so many things to be grateful for, and God is teaching me, don't focus on what you don't have. Don't focus on what you can change. I already have too much to be grateful for. Even if I just start praying in the morning, it's like I get energy. Why? Because I have 9 things that are so good. I'm not focusing on the one that's not.
Yeah.
So it's also getting to the, that comes with maturity or suffering, whatever. It's like, nope, that one thing, that thorn in the flesh, Paul said, God, you take care of it.
Yeah.
I'm going to be thankful for the other things.
And one thing I really enjoy, I'll see pictures and I'm like, man, y'all been all over the world.
Yeah.
It's just like, wow. I mean, it's like y'all are here, there, and it's just like, man.
Yeah, because I always used to like take the kids to England and we just go to England. But now, like even for Christmas, we're going to go to England, spend Christmas with my family. But a few days we're flying to Spain. We're going to fly to Portugal and then come back.
Yes.
Because it is cheaper to fly all over Europe than it is in America.
Okay.
So the 1 week we spend at Tucson, we spend way more than I can spend traveling in Europe. So now it's one of those things like, you know what, I have my kids now, and traveling is something I've always loved, and I've always done when I was a teenager, when I was in my early 20s. With the girls in the church, like, let's go to Jamaica. We just did it.
Yeah.
Right. Let's just go. And then I guess you kind of pause because you think you're here forever. It's like, you know what? I'll do it later. But later is no promise to no one.
Yeah.
So today, we just do it.
And I think the last time you went to one of your last trips, Joshua led the way through the airport.
Yeah. Joshua now is something else because we're like,
And he's 8.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
yeah.
you know how Joshua was always reluctant to doing anything, doesn't want to do nothing. So we're like, we're not carrying your bag. When we're running through the airport, you better catch up.
But didn't he show you guys where the gate was?
Oh yeah,
and
now he's on top of it.
Oh, wow.
And when we're in France, we're like, we're not using, like Ubers, whatever. I try to use the trains to kind of teach them, like, okay, this is how people in Europe, they use trains. And in France, nothing is in English. So we have to figure it out ourselves, which stop we're getting out of. And so it's kind of creating those memories as well.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Oh, my gosh.
So let me ask you this:
They're world travelers. They're not even teenagers.
Just seeing all these pictures, where was some of the places that you've gone that really just stood out to you?
Dubai.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Whoa.
Yeah, Dubai.
Nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really nice.
Yeah.
The prince over there, because he has man-made water, like the lake and everything. Since it's a desert, he is actually hiring all engineers to just surround the whole thing with water.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, and my kids loved it. It was hot, but it was nice.
Yeah. Nice. Nice.
Yeah.
Cool.
Wow, well, this is amazing. So that was kind of my goal of this podcast, is to figure out where you get that smile from. Your kids have that smile. I'm gonna cry. When your kids come and hug me, it's you've put something in them that yeah, you've been through a lot, but you have protected them, to the degree where they don't seem like they're affected, and they give a big hug, they smile, they're loving. You just exude love, and so this is just amazing. Everything you've been through, and you're still going forward, and all this wonderful attitude you have. So I'm glad we brought that out.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it's amazing. You know how we read books and all that stuff that say we have the power to change our minds.
Yeah.
It's on us, you know, because I've seen other people, they'll go through the same thing I went through and they give up.
Yeah.
And that's it for them. Their life stops.
Yeah.
But
Wow.
it is a choice. You can choose to turn it around.
Yeah.
God will turn it around. I remember one of the pastors say, God has given us the weapons, right? And here we are. We have the gun in our hand. And we're crying to him like, they're shooting me. He's like, you have the weapon in
Yeah.
your hand. Shoot back.
Yeah.
And so we have all the resources. We have all the power, and it's on us.
Yes.
Instead of waiting on other people, we need to move.
Yeah.
We need to move forward. We need to trust him. And, he always say, test me and try me. And when you do that, he always shocks me with how he answers. And that's another thing I'm learning. It's like I always used to think my life has to be this way. But he's showing me, no, it's going to be in a different way than I thought, but it's even better.
Even
Yeah.
better.
So trusting him.
That I just love it. God is so big. He's so smart, and he has such a great imagination. So we're thinking, God, can you do this? And he's like, oh, I got you there.
Right. Right.
I'll do something a whole lot better than what you
Yeah.
are
Right.
suggesting to me. Let me do it my way. And then you just wait on him
That's it.
and you let him do it.
That's what faith is. Trusting him. We don't know where it's going to end, but we just trust him. And we believe.
And when we're talking about in your mind, that's what I'm learning too, is that we have that choice to think on whatever is good and lovely and pure and of good report. We actually have that choice. And we can do that every day. And then it becomes a habit where you don't have to consciously think that way anymore. It actually becomes a habit that you're thinking. So I've been doing the same thing, starting out with gratefulness
Yeah.
every day. And you just and then it becomes a habit. Oh, every day. And then I'm like, wow, I'm really grateful for really small things. And so it becomes a lifestyle.
And another cancer book I read, he was just basically saying the people he's seen who come out of cancer are the people who have a reason to come out of cancer. Where, some people have family, you have to fight to come out of it.
Yeah.
And I saw that with my boss. She had brain cancer. They did surgery. They took everything out. And they told her she had to take the pill, she kept complaining. I'm not taking that pill because it's $5 a day. I'm not doing that. She refused to follow what the doctors say. And it came back, and a month later, she passed away. So,
wow.
like what Cheryl told me, whatever they tell you to do, you do it. It's
Yeah.
overwhelming. Find a support group. Find people to help you through it, but do what they tell you to do.
Yeah.
And Cheryl also told me sometimes believing is doing what the doctors say. Because as Christians, we kind of fight like, am I believing the doctors or God?
Oh, yeah.
But God is also using the doctors to save
Yes.
our lives.
Yes.
So I had to call Cheryl like, hold up. If I follow the doctors, I'm not trusting God. But she's like, no, you trusting the doctors, you're also trusting God. He's going to help you through the doctors.
Yeah. God's gifted doctors. They have a gift.
Right.
Yeah.
So there are the people right out there refusing treatment, thinking, oh, I'm a Christian, so I'm not going to do that, but I'm just going to believe. No, you also need the medicine.
Yeah.
And we also pray and trust that God is going to help us with it.
You fight it several different ways.
Right, right.
Well, thank you once again. This is wonderful.
Well, thank you for having me.
Yes.
And thank you again for watching the People We Meet podcast. And if you haven't already, please like and subscribe. And if you feel like this podcast would help somebody you know, please share it. Thanks again.